What's going on, you guys? It is another beautiful day in Indy. It's your boy, Klaudless, and I'm in Indy. And fortunately for you, it is kind of a beer review. Let's roll the intro and we'll get into it. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. I'm hoping that if you're watching this video, it is because you've already seen part 1. Yes, I'm calling the previous video part 2 because this video is I'm calling the previous video part 1 because in part 1 I decided to call this video part 2. Part 2 of what, you ask? Well, I mean, the video title says it all. Is there a difference between the 16-ounce can and the 12-ounce can of King Brewery's beer? Now, if you've watched my previous video, part 1, then you already know the answer to that question. But still, even if you do, I hope you continue to watch because I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy making these videos, and yeah, I think they're kind of informative. I personally haven't seen anyone do this before. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the 3 beers. 3, yes, that I'm covering. And of course, as I said before, if you watch part 1, then you already know which beers I'm covering. Alright, so here we have the Osiris, the Sunlight Cream Ale, and the Wee Mac. I'm kind of sad that I'm making this video before reviewing the Wee Mac, but you know what? I'll just do that at a later date. This video is just gonna come first. I mean, that's just how things have worked out. But as you can see here, I have both 12-ounce and 16-ounce cans of these 3 beers. I do have 16-ounce cans of the Orange Vanilla Sunlight, but unfortunately I do not have any 12-ounce cans of that beer. So, you know, it is what it is. And same with the Pachanga as well. I have I have 12-ounce cans of the Pachanga, but no 16-ounce cans. So those beers will have to be done at a later date, I guess. But you know what? To start off this video, I think we're gonna start off with the Osiris. Yeah. Alright, so in the previous video, I used my kind of sample glasses, like the miniature snifters or mini goblets, but I only have 4 of those. But what I did have are these little jars that we actually used for my daughter, but we had some extra ones lying around, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to use these 2-ounce jars here for the tasting, since we have exactly 6 of them. You're right, I think we have like 1-ounce and 2-ounce jars, so I'm going to use the 2-ounce jars here for them. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Osiris here, and I'm just going to get pouring. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to actually show you guys the temperature, because that's just what I do. Being that this is a part 2, I'm not going to explain why I have this voltage tester here / thermometer. I encourage you guys to watch part 1 to find out why I have this. But we're going to go ahead and check the temperature of these beers. So I'm getting a reading of 59.7 degrees Fahrenheit for the 16-ounce. I'm getting a reading of 52.1. The reason for that discrepancy also is because these, actually some of these beers were in the fridge, while others were not. And so I threw them in the freezer while I was making part 1. And yeah, hoping that they would be cold by the time I, if I decide to make part 2. So we have 60 degrees here for the 16 Sunlight Cream Ale. Same thing here. Well, let me do that one more time. Very interesting reading there. We have 60.8 degrees Fahrenheit. We have 61.1 degrees Fahrenheit. And last but not least, we have 60.8 degrees Fahrenheit, with the only one that's different being the Osiris, slowly climbing in temperature to 55.9 degrees Fahrenheit. But, I mean, it'll be the same, close to these in no time, so there shouldn't be that much of a difference in taste. So, let's go ahead and get to pouring. I do want to let you guys know that, yes, I am shooting this video. Oh my god, wow, okay. Wow, that just exploded all over the tasting tray here, the sampling tray. Wow, unbelievable. You know what's actually funny, though, is that when I first recorded... So, I did a comparison between the NA Sunlight and the Hopopolis, and when I first recorded that video, because the video that you guys see is not my first take, I actually recorded the first take in the studio, and then decided I didn't like that, and decided to do a reshoot out here. But the first time I opened that beer too, in the studio, it exploded on me, so I thought that was kind of weird. That was very weird. Alright, so as you guys can see here, we have the 2 beers here. So this is the 12 ounce, and this is the 16 ounce. Yeah, I mean, as I've said in part 1, main difference between these two, I mean, they look virtually the same. But I've noticed that the colder the beer, the cloudier it is, the less transparent it is. Well, this one is a lot more transparent, right? I can literally see myself through it on the camera, right? This one, not so much. So that's the biggest difference right there. And also, another thing too, as I mentioned in part 1, is that this beer here, the 12 ounce, it's colder. The colder one, the flavor is a lot more vibrant, right? It's a lot stronger than this one. I do have to get a little bit closer to actually smell the beer, while this one, I don't have to get that close for the aroma to hit me. Oh yeah, that's delicious. That's so smooth, so smooth. Once upon a time, this was the majority beer that I had in the house. This was basically the house beer. And then eventually became the WeMac. Still, both are great. Like I said, I mean, I'm not noticing really that much of a difference because, as I said before, one was already in the fridge, and last temperature check was 55.9 degrees Fahrenheit, while this one was, top of my head, I think 60 or so. So yeah. Still very good at both temperatures. Highly recommend the Osiris. Whenever someone comes in and says, hey, I just want an IPA, even though the Osiris is technically not an IPA, although some would argue that it's a session IPA, but I say it's not an IPA because it's only 5.6% ABV, but still, it still tastes like an IPA, right? Pretty comparable. And yeah, so that's the one I give them, and they're usually pretty darn satisfied, as I would expect them to be, because it's just a great beer all around, hands down. With that being said, let's move on to the Sunlight Cream Ale. Okay, yes, as you guys can see, there's still quite the mess on the table here. I'm not going to stop to clean that up. We're just going to keep on trucking. Alrighty. Also, I'm going to post both my review for the Osiris right here, a picture of that. So definitely go ahead and check that out because I did review that beer. And for the Sunlight Cream Ale, I'm going to post that review right here. I don't think I have clickable pictures yet, but still. Or maybe I'll put it in a note card at the top. I'm not sure. But go ahead and check out those reviews. I think you guys will enjoy them. Yeah, let's get back into it. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice. We got a great pour there. It didn't overflow or anything. Go ahead and open this 12-ounce can here. Well, I was a little worried, honestly. I thought I was going to get the Osiris treatment there. Okay. Oh, we got a lot more head on this one. A lot more head. So crazy. Absolutely so crazy. You know, just to see the difference in the pours. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you guys this here. All right, so I have the two beers. On my left hand, I have the 12-ounce pour, and on my right hand, I have the 16-ounce pour, or rather the cans. Right. So as you guys can see here, there really is no difference between the two besides the head retention on the 12-ounce. Great head retention there. Pretty much none on the 16-ounce. And as I said before, previously with the temperature readings, they were both roughly the same temperature. All right, lots of carbonation, just a great looking blonde ale here, cream ale, just very golden straw. Yeah. Let's get into this here. I would say the flavor is roughly, as far as like the strength, the aroma strength is roughly the same. I want to say a little bit more so on this one because of the head there, but still roughly the same. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm starting to think that this is all in my mind personally. I think that this one here is slightly more drier, slightly more bitter than this one here. That's the 16-ounce I'm talking about, being slightly drier, slightly more bitter than the 12-ounce. Very strange. Very strange. So only slight differences. As I said before in a previous video, that these could easily be two completely different batches. I mean, I don't know how the you know, how they do things down at the brewery. I wish one day I could find out. But yeah. Yeah, with that being said, you know, let's move on to the WeMac. I mean, because the rule out on this one here is not much of a difference, but definitely a difference in quality here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but the head is still retained on the 12-ounce glass, as opposed to the 12-ounce can. As opposed to the 16, the head is pretty much non-existent there. Non-existent. Alrighty. Let's move on to the WeMac. Okay. We are here at the only beer on this panel here on this board that I have not reviewed. I did review the WeMac. If you want to go check out that video, it's this video right here. Maybe I'll post a card if I'm able to. If not, you can easily just search it. That was actually one of my favorite beers, if not my favorite beer, when I first started working at Sun King. But I digress. Okay. Alrighty. One thing that I noticed right away, of course, is that the head, because the WeMac is a Scottish ale, it is a darker beer. It's going to be the darkest beer of the three. Ooh, look at that head formation there. You know, so the head is almost like I want to say like it's brown, you know, it's like a toffee kind of there. Right, we're gonna go ahead and open the 12-ounce can here. Hopefully it doesn't explode on me. Bam. Look at that, both great head on both of these here. Absolutely great on both of these. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and switch the camera Okay, so here I have both the beers. On my left hand, I have the, excuse me, whew, starting to get the hiccups here, or starting to burp a lot. I have the 12-ounce can and the 16-ounce can. Let me move them up here. As you can see, there's not really any difference in color. I mean, there's just a lot more bubbles on this one here. Although, I mean, on the can, yeah, I guess it's just on this side. Yeah, I guess it's pretty comparable, the amount of bubbles. The head retention is a lot greater on the 12-ounce can. That's, like I said, that's a weird thing, but it could easily be due to different batches, because as I measured, these were roughly the same temperature. So yeah, just a lot better head retention on the 12-ounce can here, similar with the Sunlight Cream Ale. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Let me turn the camera just so I can show you guys. But I'm looking at the two right here, right? And look, you can still see white in the glass in the sunlight, while the 16-ounce can here, no white at all. So very, very interesting, very strange. Okay, let's get into the aroma here. I mean, I would say with both of them, I do have to get pretty close to the glass to get the aroma. So they're pretty equal on that part. Oh yeah, that's a great beer there. That is a great tasting beer there. Whew, but this is not a beer review video, right? Of the single, or rather a tasting review here, where this is a comparison. So, very interesting. Very interesting. So one thing that I did notice about the difference between these two beers is that the 16-ounce can, and like I said, temperature may obviously plays a part, and I would say the different batches also plays a part too. But the carbonation is, I would say, like, and when I'm talking about carbonation, we're talking about, of course, like the tingling on the tongue, and you know, you all know what carbonation is, okay? We all drink soda for the most part. Although I'm taking a break from soda. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to have any more toothache here, or toothaches. But yeah, so there's a little bit less carbonation in this one, you know, than there is in this one. This is a lot smoother. But still, as far as like the flavor, yeah, I would say the flavor is basically the same. There's not really that much of a difference in, between these two beers here. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the summary of everything. So I didn't want to say it at the beginning of this video. I mean, obviously I didn't want to give it away. Although the conclusion that I've come to is actually different than the first one, but still similar. So in part one, if you watch part one, I'll put a picture of that right there. I said that there may not actually have been a difference between the 16-ounce cans and the 12-ounce cans, but rather that temperature played the biggest factor. You know, while the what did I say? I said that the Atomic Armadillo, the 12-ounce Atomic Armadillo was slightly different. That there was a difference between the 12-ounce and the 16-ounce Atomic Armadillo, but the 12-ounce was in the fridge, while the 16-ounce was not, which is my bad. But other than that, there wasn't really that much difference in the flavor. While the Reckless Raccoon, on the other hand, both of those were in the fridge, but there was only a slight difference between the two, which I attributed to possibly being different batches. So yeah, so I guess kind of telling me that there actually is a potential, right, of the 16-ounce cans and the 12-ounce cans tasting slightly different. And of course, with these here as well, there really wasn't that much difference between the beers, only slight differences, right? I mean, the major differences being with the Sunlight Cream Ale here, the 12-ounce can had great head and great head retention. As you guys can see and probably hear, that they're still white in the glass. The head is still there. While the 12-ounce can pour, or the 16-ounce can pour, I'm sorry, how do you say, depleted fairly quickly. Yeah, and you can also see that too here with the 12-ounce can of the WeMac. It's still pretty prominent there, while the 16-ounce WeMac head is still hanging on there, but I'm sure will not last for long. But yeah, so I'll say in altogether, which if you're watching my channel, I shouldn't make assumptions, but chances are you guys are most likely beer geeks, beer aficionados like myself on this beer journey, right? And you know it, or maybe you're learning just as I am, that temperature is going to have an effect on the beer, right? Storage is going to have an effect on the beer. Obviously, the different batches is going to have an effect on the beer, as I've demonstrated that these are potentially different batches. And yeah, so I said storage, i.e. temperature, and different batches, and yeah, those are going to have the biggest effects. And so yeah, that's pretty much. But to answer the question of this video, of the title of the video, is there a difference between the 16-ounce cans and the 12-ounce cans? And I think the answer to that is yes. That's the short answer. The short answer, well, no, I would say the short answer is actually no. While the long answer is yes, but, right, and obviously because of factors. So I think that's pretty much it. And I think that may be the end of this series. I think part 2 is probably going to be the last one. There may be others in the future, as I drink more beer. We'll see. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching my videos, for coming back. If you like this and you like what I'm doing, okay, please subscribe, click that bell, and like this video. If you want to support me, okay, all that information is down in the description. And remember, you guys, it is because of viewers like you. That is what makes, these videos possible, giving me the confidence and the motivation to keep going. So with that being said, cheers, salud, slancha, skol, nastrovia, prost, peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.